back to day 16 of my cold, wet swimming places. So today is the third of the places that we found while on the short break in June, I think. Yes, June. So we'd had, 4 or 5 days of very, very hot weather. And, I'd been doing great. I'd been able to do more, but not as much more as I wanted to because it was so hot and my lack of fitness. So I was a bit frustrated. And we'd sort of said, we could go and do that. We could go and do that. Or what about we go up there? And I think I'd sort of ditched some of the ideas because I just thought, what's the point of pushing too hard? I don't have long COVID anymore, so I don't need to worry about PEM, but at the same time, nobody should be pushing themselves beyond their limit. My fitness isn't what it was. I need to act like a sort of not very fit, healthy person. And if I push myself too hard, I'm just going to make myself sick, or I'm going to injure myself, which after everything else would be like insult to injury, I think. So I was just trying to be sensible, and I think I'd also said to Malky that I really struggle with not walking on paths. And I think during long COVID, this gave me a much greater understanding of why this was. And it's partly to do with the way my brain works, but it's also because you have to think more if you're not walking on a path. And that's cognitive exertion on top of physical exertion. And given that I was already struggling with my fitness, when I was then trying to push my fitness when I wasn't walking on a path, this was more of a struggle. So it's quite interesting how I now have a much greater insight into how my brain works through this. So there was a place we wanted to really go. It was a hill, and I thought I'd love to go up there, but nah, we're not going to be able to do that. Anyway, we got to the final day and actually went, should we give it a try? If I had a lot more confidence after that sort of few days away, because despite the heat, I had been able to do quite a lot. I've coped fine with it. We'd also had some easier days because that's what sensible people do. This is something that I'm still learning. So we decided to do it. We thought, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. So we went up this, and it was great. We took it slowly. Fitness-wise, it's amazing. It amazed me how quickly it did come back. And even now, I'm nowhere near the fitness that I was at. But I think certainly that first bit came back a lot quicker than I thought it would. So even after doing, a couple of days, my body did seem to be coping better with the heat and all of that. So anyway, we gave it a try. And, I'm not denying it was hard work, because it absolutely was. But we just did it sensibly. We stopped to drink plenty, took it slowly, tried to pick the easiest route that was sort of the least sort of difficult ground to walk over. And it was absolutely wonderful. It just felt so good to be up this place that I'd looked at so many times and never been up before I got sick. And then once I did get sick, it was just like, I'm never going to be able to go up there. And suddenly I was. So it was incredible. And we found this amazing little loch-in quite near the top. And, this is one of the things I've been really looking forward to, is being able to just, be out walking and be like, check out that loch, let's go in there. Or, isn't that a lovely waterfall? Let's go in that one. So actually we did both. We found this awesome little loch-in that you could kind of swim up and down near the top. And because it was super warm and really small, it was actually not that cold. So it felt pretty awesome to do that. And then on the way down, we walked down past a series of waterfalls, and I just couldn't resist, really, could I? And it didn't, hurt that it was super, super warm. So it was kind of like all of these things that I thought, I could never do that. I'll never be able to do that. I was starting to be able to do all of these things again. And although, yes, it was frustrating that my fitness wasn't what it was, and yes, it was annoying, it was taking time to come back, I could really see the improvement. So, firstly, the fact that I could push myself because I wasn't sick anymore, and also just over time that fitness was coming back, looking back a couple of days, looking back a couple of weeks, certainly looking back a month, I was like, okay, right, yeah, I couldn't do that. And even now, looking back several months on, I'm looking back and thinking, I don't know what I was moaning about. That was quite easy. Like, I could do much more than that now. So, you know, I think, you know, this is kind of like with long COVID. It's really hard to see that improvement when you look back a short period of time, like a few days or a few weeks. But if you look back more like a month or a couple of months or a year, it's much easier to see that improvement, because it kind of softens all those ups and downs that we tend to feel day to day or week to week. And that is something that my partner was very good at spotting for me. And yeah, it's no surprise to me as well that he was very good at spotting it with my fitness as well. So he was saying, yeah, well, you know, I know you're frustrated because you're tired, but actually you're tired because we're trying to do something bigger than we did last week because your fitness is improving. So yeah, it was a wonderful holiday, and I think it was exactly what we needed, really, despite the impossibly hot temperatures. Well, impossibly hot for Scotland anyway. I'm sure people who live in hotter places are thinking that sort of 27 is really not that warm, but it is for here.